And the story goes, after a comet releases a mysterious virus that begins to kill all the women in the world, a young couple hides out in their over-sterilized apartment trying to fight for their lives. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl, your average viewer here. I recently watched the post-apocalyptic romance film Only, which currently has 5.1 out of 10 rating on IMDb. This movie was directed by Takashi Dosher and premiered on March 6, 2020 on Netflix. I'm going to tell you the movie in chronological order versus how the movie does it. The movie jumps from present and past. Timestamps will be down below. In the past, Ava's getting ready for the day as we hear a news story in the background. Cavino's comet will be taking a rare detour close to Earth. Caroline is going out for yoga, but Ava decides not to go with her. Will comes over and they're excited to have the apartment to themselves. They reminisce on when they decided to move in together after a road trip. The comet has passed through and there's dust falling from the sky. Caroline comes back to the apartment breathing erratically and she passes out. They take her to the hospital where Will notices only women are sick. He tries to get out of there, but Ava is hesitant to leave Caroline. Will believes they can't save her. Throughout quarantine, Ava keeps in contact with some women in hiding via a secure chat. They're all afraid and using code names so the government doesn't find them. She's increasingly getting more impatient as she's stuck in the house and has to hide. Ava and Will prepare for quarantine using her father's guidance. Since the dust mostly affects women, Will is safer to go out and get food and stuff. Men can still get affected, but they won't die. She tries to speak with her father and learns that the government has taken her mother. She doesn't understand why because her mother is too old to have children anymore. As she's talking to her dad, Will tells her not to actually speak and she can't show her face because the network isn't secure. Upon hearing about her mom, she tries to speak to her dad to let him know she's still alive, and Will quickly ends the call. One of the last girls in the chat has gotten the disease and tells Ava goodbye. She sends her a picture showing her real face and the day she believes she's going to die. Ava adds it to the wall of other women's pictures that have died. Over it, Ava decides to kick Will out. She yells at him that she never wanted to do all of this to keep her safe and she was never allowed to plan for what she wants. Her options being dying or becoming a baby-making machine for the U.S. government aside, she wanted a choice at least. As Will is leaving, he decides to come back up the stairs and sees Ava outside breathing in the air. She's made her choice to die via the disease versus at the hands of the government. We get a couple of shots of Will and Ava in the forest while in a loving embrace. Will is sitting on the couch with his head in his hands while Ava is washing the dirt off of her body. Ava takes a cotton swab test, but before they can get the results, there's a knock on the door. Ava quickly tries to hide the test and hides under the mattress. They've built a hollow compartment under their bed. Will enters the door and the soldiers search his house. They ask him about Caroline and Ava. He tells them that his girlfriend Caroline died from the disease and Ava went to England with her parents. As they're searching his apartment, they get close to the bed and Will noticeably tenses up. They notice a corner with a bunch of pictures of women on the wall. He tells them it's women he knew. As the soldiers are leaving, one of them tells Will to not worry, they don't take the sick ones. The soldier sees the test Ava left on the table, which shows she is positive. Will is distraught because he knows he only has a few days left with Ava. They pack up and go on a road trip. They pass a billboard that encourages women to get tested and turn themselves into the government. Before entering a market, Ava puts on a disguise to look manlier, and Will remarks how she looks stupid. As they're grocery shopping, he tries to keep Ava close to him. She stops to look at some tampons, which alerts the store clerk, and he pulls her hat off. Will is about to shoot him, but instead gives him some money for the stuff they got, and they get out of there. Will is understandably upset with her because she almost got herself killed. They're sitting in the parking lot of a motel. Ava stays in the car while Will goes to get them a room. A male prostitute comes up to her, but she's able to get him to go away. There's a father and son checking into the hotel as well. When they pass by their room, we can see that duo has hunting guns. The next day, they stop by a diner, and Will is hesitant to eat inside, but Ava insists as she's on her last days. Will does all of the talking and they receive their food. The server is eyeing Ava because she so obviously has feminine features. There is a press conference happening that the women being rounded up by the government are happy and healthy. The government has created an experiment using an artificial womb called the Embryo Project, which has seen a success because a fetus has survived to the second trimester. The international community is trying to regrow the population. Ava is marking on a map where she wants to go for her last days. As they're eating, some hunters come into the diner. The hunters collect women to turn into the government for a $2 million bounty check. Ava and Will hastily get out of there because Ava is bleeding from her ears, leaving their map. The duo from earlier pay their tab and pick up the map to follow them. The order of the disease taking effect: Step 1, hemorrhaging. Step 2, dizziness and loss of motor control. Day 4 is seizures and convulsions, and we don't learn about day 6. Will is being an ass because he's reminding Ava of her impending death. They decide to camp in the woods. When they make it to the forest, they go on a search to see a waterfall. Later that night, Ava and Will decide to have sex for the first time since this catastrophe has happened. Will suddenly wakes up and finds Casey and Arthur pointing guns at him. After knocking him out, they tie him to a tree. The father and son duo found their campsite and are looking for Ava. He's trying to tell them she's not coming, implicating she's dead. They don't believe him, and it takes shifts watching him waiting for Ava. Ava comes back and sees Will tied up. She mesmerizes Casey and knocks him out, freeing Will. Will takes the gun and shoots Arthur before they leave. They eventually find their waterfall, and Ava and Will take a picture with her death date on it. The end. Alright, so here are some things I noticed while watching this. Number 1, when Will first told the soldiers that Caroline was his girlfriend, I was confused because he's obviously sleeping with Ava. I thought it was a case of circumstances. This also explained to me why he was such an ass to Ava throughout their travels, until I realized he was the one dating Ava and lied about Caroline so they wouldn't take Ava. I believed he was dating Caroline because he was such a dick to Ava, like just an asshole completely. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe they're, having sex and hooking up because it's just the two of them. Turns out they were in love, and he's just frustrated at Ava for her choosing to die. Number 2, I don't understand why Ava never cut her hair or why Will kept using her real name. She bends her boobs down so they appear flat, but doesn't cut her hair or use a different name. She doesn't have large boobs, so she could have just worn an oversized t-shirt and been okay. The main thing that made people notice her was her face, her very feminine face, as well as the fact that she has a long hair. Number 3, why would Ava get tampons at the store? She's about to die in less than a week, and she knows she's going to die. This is not like a maybe I'll live a month or two. No, she knows she's about to die in less than a week. Does she believe she's going to get her period this week? And if she does, so what? You're about to die. Does she think she's going to survive longer than this? Is she just trying to gain some normalcy? I mean, I guess I understand that part, but I'm sorry. If I'm on my last days of living, I'm not trying to get tampons. I'm trying to go to my favorite restaurants or something. Number 4, I know Ava, as well as the actress that plays her, has a British accent, and Will, being American, doesn't. But it was just always really jarring to hear her really speak because it was such a contrast between his American accent and then her British accent. Number 5, sorry. I wonder if the world was able to regrow the population. Would they only grow girls or both? Would they only make girl babies or would they make both sexes? And would they only grow girls as a means to have sex with, like for the men to have sex with them? Or like only the rich can adopt a girl with a government raise the girls? Like who would be in charge of raising the babies? Because, the women are all dead, and most obviously, well, not obviously, but maybe in an apocalyptic situation, I don't think everyone's going to turn gay just to be gay, Obviously, they would want to, if they're heterosexual, they're going to want to stay heterosexual. So how would that even work? Why would that even be? I understand why it would be the goal, but what would be the goal, if that makes sense? Number 6, Will saves Ava's life so many times in this movie, and yet she's upset with him because she never asked to be saved. Well, if that were the case, how come every time Will is about to save you, you don't stop him? Like every single time that he steps in and saves this girl, she's like, oh, there you are. Where have you been? At the supermarket, she just gets scared when the guy pulls her hats off and just gets behind Will immediately, and he protects her. When the male prostitute comes up to her, she just tells him to go away. Why not reveal yourself? Will was not even in the car. At the diner, when her ear is bleeding, and he is able to spot it and get her out of there, she is right behind him. I mean, like, I understand that she, I guess, wanted some say in what happens to her, you know, not just for Will to assume that she would want to live in this world, but don't be ungrateful, because at any point you could have run away and you did not. You chose to be with him and you chose to let him see you die, you know? Number 7, I always feel like these movies are too clean. Like, where are all the dead female bodies? How come the world is so desolate? The movie takes place 400 days after the comet. So if the government has enough time to make a test to tell whether you are positive or not, they don't have enough time to rebuild their economy in any other way? I mean, literally any other way. A diner is open, gas stations are out of business. Why would the supermarket be closed? I understand that women are a huge part of our population, but it's been a year. There should be some sort of rejuvenation happening. Like I was saying, if the government is able to make a test that tells whether you're positive or not, I feel like there's other things that could have also been doing to make sure people have food and stuff and good living. Number 8, I don't quite understand why they left the apartment besides wanting to live out Ava's dying wish to see a waterfall. The government wasn't going to try and get her because she's infected, so that conflict was already over and done. Besides them hiding Ava from the government, the only conflict is Arthur and Casey, and they only happen in the last 30-ish minutes. So basically what I'm saying is this movie has no type of conflict. Because if Ava did not want to see that waterfall, they would have never left that apartment. And I'm sure she would have gone, crazy being stuck in the apartment. But even then, we didn't really see that happen, because as soon as she felt claustrophobic, she just went outside. And if she's already sick, that means she can go outside anytime. Well, of course, hiding, because people would still want to turn her in. And lastly, honestly, rewatching this, I'm noticing that the actor who plays Will definitely outacted Ava's character. His roller coaster of emotions was believable compared to hers. She just seemed detached. I mean, maybe that was the goal. If you know you're about to die, maybe you do just detach, but damn. I give this movie 2 out of 4 stars. It was alright. It served its purpose, which was to be a background noise while I played games on my phone. I will say that the trailer really is the entire movie. Honestly, the trailer you see on YouTube, that's the movie. There's no secrets. That is the movie. I feel like an apocalyptic movie these days needs to have a different twist. A world where women are incubators or dead seems ideal for the patriarchy. I think this movie could have been different if it were the men who died and women had to ration sperm or something along those lines. Also, it would have been interesting to learn why it was targeting women in general. Was it the estrogen, or could the comet tell who had egg-making ovaries versus sperm testicles? Were women who don't have ovaries affected too? All the babies in cryo tanks, did those babies die too? Women who get their eggs taken out of them, did those babies die also? Because why would they need to take eggs from live women? Does that make sense? And also, obviously, trans women, would they also die? Or trans men, would they die? I don't know. I wish we could have gotten more of the science behind this, even if it was broadcasted to us in like the news or an article or something, just to understand the conflict. There really was just no conflict besides she was gonna die, and we already knew that, so there was just no conflict. With that being said, my question for you: did you see this movie as just a romance movie, or did you actually think it was a thriller? Use the poll to vote and tell me what you chose and why, or how you felt about this movie. Thanks for listening to me draw on about this cool movie, and I hope that you press the like button to let me know I'm doing awesome. I post a review once a week, typically Wednesday mornings, so I'll see you next week.